How we doing, everybody? This is a Fox 54 web exclusive. I'm Nick Kuzma. That's Simon Williams. We're here to talk about a big game between Auburn and Penn State, two very well-known programs on the back end of a home-and-home. Simon, first thoughts about the Nittany Lions and the Tigers?
Well, I'm so excited we get this matchup. It is a non-conference campus site game between Power 5 opponents. It's only the second time that they've played in the regular season, the fourth all-time matchup, and after last year's thriller, we're due for another good one.
Absolutely. Last year ending 28-20, of course. And what were your takeaways from that game?
That Auburn had a chance to win the game twice and didn't get it done. Penn State survived. Now, Penn State played a really solid first half and let Auburn get back into the game a little bit, but it felt like Auburn just had those chances and let them fall out of their hands. And that kind of fit the Bo Nix narrative throughout his entire tenure as Auburn's starting quarterback. But we saw it most evidently last year. They had two chances within the Penn State 5-yard line defensively, Auburn's own red zone, and they didn't score a touchdown either time. And with an 8-point margin of victory for Penn State, a touchdown could have made the difference, let alone two.
Yeah, 8-point margin. It was a 1-point margin going into the fourth quarter of that game. And I think it's something really interesting to bring up, quarterback play, because that's obviously a big question right now for Auburn. You got two guys going in there in Ashford and Finley, but both of these guys have been making mistakes. I mean, we're talking about each had an interception in their last game against SJSU. What are your thoughts about that?
No one's really sure what the quarterback is going to be, ideally, in terms of the prototype, the model, the archetype of the Auburn quarterback. Because Calzada and Finley and even Robbie Ashford, they all offer different things, different skill sets, yet none of them has really been able to assert themselves and really dictate the offense based on their skill set. It still feels like TJ Finley is their number one guy on the depth chart, but they used Ashford enough to show that they want him in the rotation.
And on the other side, you have Penn State, who's got one quarterback. Let's talk about it.
Well, he's been a 6-year player. He's started for the last 4. I mean, he's been the guy for Penn State's offense really in every way, passing and rushing. He can get it done both ways. He's a scrambler more so than a true running quarterback. But Sean Clifford is as viable a candidate for a Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, quarterback kind of Player of the Year, Peyton Manning Award, watch list type guy. I'm not going to say he's going to win a Heisman because, that usually means the team's got to, go undefeated or win the national championship. But he has the ability, and certainly, to be an outstanding quarterback, and he has the receiving tools and especially the running back stable to help him out.
Maybe not a national championship, but it still is a number 22 ranked Penn State football team that's coming down here to Alabama. And one thing we got to talk about is the first two teams that came in here in this first 5 home games that the Tigers have. They're going to be teams that are a little bit intimidated, I think, coming into Jordan-Hare. That's not the case with the Nittany Lions. Fun fact, we're both Pennsylvania guys. We both grew up in that state, so we know a little bit about Penn State. We know what Happy Valley can really mean, and it can really mean Loud Valley. So I don't think these guys will be scared at all. Right?
Well, that's what some of these guys have been saying over the last week, that they remember what that whiteout experience was like at Penn State, the famed whiteout. It was the largest crowd that an Auburn team has ever played in front of, over 110,000 people at Beaver Stadium up at State College. It was the 10th largest crowd in Penn State football history. But so they recognized that it was a big-time moment to play in, and they're going to counter it themselves this week around with an all-orange afternoon. Now, the question is, are they going to wear the orange jerseys to go with it? Because Penn State's rocking the road whites. We know that for sure. That's what they do all the time.
They do.
But is Auburn going to wear the complimentary orange? I would love to see it.
I think that would be a lot of fun. You will be at that game. The game will be at 2:30. Let's have a little score prediction. What are you thinking?
It feels like it's going to be a little bit more high scoring than last year. I'm thinking upper 30s for whoever wins this game. I want to say Penn State 35, Auburn 28.
35-28, that's not a bad one. I'm not going to quite go score, but I think Penn State wins this one by 2 scores. I just have a bad feeling coming out of SJSU. As you all know, I worked in Wyoming before, saw a lot of Mountain West football. San Jose State is by no means a team that should be putting the shivers into an SEC team. And, I mean, that game was really close. So maybe a bounce back, maybe not. I'm thinking Penn State by 2 scores. Any last thoughts on the game before we go?
Man, it's going to be such an awesome environment. The Auburn faithful is going to come and meet this moment. Let's hope the Tigers can do the same.
Absolutely. That's Simon Williams. I'm Nick Kuzma. This is a Fox 54 web exclusive. Enjoy the game.